Hello, everyone. Welcome to Inconvenient Truths. I'm your host, Jennifer Zheng. Today, I'd like to talk about three issues, some updates on the COVID situation in China, the looming unemployment crisis, how Chinese billionaire Jack Ma lost control of his ad group, and what this means to China and the world. On January 8th, Zhao Yahui, the director of the Department of Medical Affairs of China's National Health Commission, admitted in a TV interview that in 2022, 8% of Chinese people who were infected with Omicron had pneumonia. She said, although the rate is low because China has a large population, the absolute number of people who have pneumonia will be huge. Let's watch the video that I translated. Please make sure you read the subtitles.
因为新冠病毒感染，但从老百姓实际的感受，其实他的肺炎的人数并不少。为什么会出现这样的情况呢？其实，我们之前啊，在这个每一版的诊疗方案里边来讲呢，轻型就是它是，比如有发热呀、咳嗽啊、咽痛啊这样的一些症状，但是轻型是没有肺炎表现的。那么在这个普通型就是出现了肺炎了。2022年我们国家的奥密克戎临床病例的这个分型情况来看呢，出现这个肺炎，也就是说普通型的这个占比，它的这个占比还是相当的低的，就是不到10%，不到10%，大概是8%左右的这样的一个占比。那么现在我们因为感染的基数大了，那么感染的基数大了呢，那它出现这个肺炎的这个绝对数值，它一定是大的，因为再低的比例，我们国家这个人口基数大，所以呢，那么变成绝对值的话，它都是一个不小的数目。那您觉得预计我们春运，尤其在这个时候，我们在1月8号实施了乙类乙管，这个高峰会不会超过前边的那个高峰？因为我们国家这个人口啊，主要还是在这些大城市嘛，就是它的这个人口，一个是数量大，再一个呢人口密度也大。这些直辖市、省会城市和主要的中心城市已经度过了感染的高峰。其实现在有一些中小城市，包括农村，其实它的这个应该说感染的这个率啊，也已经达到了一定的这个程度。所以呢，我认为在春运期间，春节前后呢，不一定是一个感染的高峰，但是有可能会出现急诊和重症的高峰。
Well, after this interview was aired, many Chinese people were very shocked. Although she said that 8% is a very low percentage, people were still shocked, as initially the CCP had been telling everyone that most people, 99%, only had mild symptoms or no symptoms at all. Also, suppose 60% of Chinese people are infected, then 67 million of them have pneumonia. Isn't that an astonishing number? How many of those people's pneumonia will develop into serious problems? How many have died or will die? There are no such figure. On January 8th, Taiwan also announced its numbers. Only 0.26% have moderate symptoms. What Taiwan calls moderate symptoms is equivalent to what mainland China calls common type. So while Taiwan's percentage is only 0.26%, while China's number is as high as 8%. On December 30th, the CDC in Ordos City in Inner Mongolia announced the result of a survey of over 16,000 people who were infected. Nearly 79% experienced symptoms of fever. Nearly 69% had symptoms of headache. Nearly 65% had symptoms of coughing, and nearly 62% had muscle aches and pains, and nearly 62% had a sore throat, etc. Only 10% had milder overall symptoms, and only 1.75 point had no symptoms at all. Yesterday, that's January 9th, Kan Quancheng, the CCP Secretary of the Health Commission of Henan Province, said at a press conference that as of January 6, 89% of the people in Henan Province have been infected, and the main strain is still Omicron BA.5.8.2. Please note these few sentences in this report. Henan Province has successfully passed the peak of the pandemic and achieved a smooth and orderly transition. The number of new infections per day is expected to remain at a low level by the end of this month. Did we say before that the CCP's new strategy was to let whoever needs to be infected, and let whoever needs to die, die? The statement from Henan Province again confirmed that this is indeed the CCP's strategy. They talked about having successfully passed the peak and achieving a smooth and orderly transition, as if that is a great political achievement. Who knows how many have been killed during what they call a smooth and orderly transition? Let's watch a video which shows an Wangang Thai community in Shenbei District, Shenyang City, Liaoning Province. They are digging holes in the ground and selling them for 20 to 30,000 yuan, or 3,000 to 4.4 thousand US dollars per hole.
天天就是卖，大卖当中。
The man who recorded this video says, "These are getting sold every day, very hot." The next video is also from Shenyang City, showing a worker at the cremation workshop who was so tired that he could no longer continue working. The second part shows many coffins in the morgue.
是他妈是火化车间的，全是大烟囱。哎呦我操，这家伙，这活工累耗了，这家伙辛苦啊！哎呦我天，干不动了。
I turned off the music. This is the morgue of the crematorium. See how many coffins are there. This is in Shenyang City, Liaoning Province. Now let's see another one also from Shenyang Province, from Liaoning Province, sorry.
年轻的，这都是长着分瘤的，你看到没？架子上，啊！哎呦我操！地下。
The man exclaiming, "How many coffins are there?"
这半夜了。
They shelved on the ground.
这就是返场院，就是祭典那屋的都是。哎呦我操！太残忍了。啊，这都排着往外地分流呢，现在。
They said there are too many bodies here, so they need to be sent to other places. So this was shot on January 8th in a crematorium in Liaoning Province in China. And this picture shows that on January 5th in Fuzhou City, Fujian province, people were using their own cars to transport coffins as funeral homes funeral homes cannot offer the service anymore. So people's lives means nothing in the CCP's smooth and orderly transition. This is a chat record between the director of a factory called Changzhou Hiking Outdoor Products and someone who is called Alice. The director said there was an order for 30 million body bags and no one dared to accept it as the bags need to be delivered within half a month. She also said that her factory received inquiries every day from civil affairs bureaus and other government departments, all asking for body bags for more than several dozen million. Now let's watch another video from Beijing. It was shot by a man from, I'm guessing, a construction company. He said they just received an order to urgently convert a hotel into a crematorium with 200 cremators installed. Cremators have already been transported to the site, etc. So his video was showing the hotel.
现在今天开会，现在说又改了，以后不是进驻空姐，这里要改成火葬场。现在北京市火葬场非常紧缺，火都不够烧了。现在每天火葬场非常的超负荷运行，这里要建200个炉子，以后这地方要更多工作人员，就是工作人员。
So 200 cremators are going to be installed here. So he is showing the hotel room where he said some of them will be converted into mourning hall, and some of them will be for the families of the dead to stay, and some will be for the workers. And now he's showing the cremators that are already delivered to the site, so they just need to install it. He said the equipment is already here, so we need to install them. So they are all cremators. Okay, he also said initially this hotel was to be transformed or converted into an apartment building for flight attendants. But now they got an urgent order that it should be converted into a crematory, and they need to demolish 14 buildings to set up the cremators and keep 2 buildings for workers, mourning halls, and families of the dead to stay, etc. So this video was shot only yesterday. And according to Yuan Hongbin, former law professor at Peking University, he said that in his latest show that the latest cases of the public in Beijing cremating bodies by themselves have exceeded 2,400. That's according to the police's internal record. The other day, I saw somebody do the following estimation, which I think is very reasonable. According to public information, the full capacity of all the crematoriums in Beijing is about 4,002 bodies per day. Given the outbreak has been for over a month and the waiting period for new cremation service is about a month now, a conservative estimation is about 200,000 people in Beijing have died. Beijing has better medical facilities than other cities in China, but if we just use Beijing's number to do a calculation, the total death toll in the entirety of China will be about 14 million. Whichever the case, experts are saying that this round of outbreaks will become the most fatal event since the Great Chinese Famine in the 1960s, which saw at least 35 million Chinese people starve to death. Well, that's all for the outbreak situation updates. Now let's move to our second topic today, the looming unemployment crisis. Let's watch a video first. Well, this video is very long, so I won't play it all. Basically, the people in the video are shouting, "The police is beating people up." It shows the clashes between the CCP police and the workers at Hangzhou All-Test Biotech Company on January 9th, that's yesterday. The workers were protesting against the company's decision to lay off employees. The following video shows the clashes between CCP police and the workers at ZY Bio Company in Chongqing City on January 7th.
小朋友，你帮忙对哪个？带你妈东西儿！那枪对嘛，是你妈用。你当我好了，人多了，人民就把所有人服了。喂，请广大职工保持克制，在这个过程当中理性，在这个地方没有手机，我们那个也。 小子，哪个来踢？哪个来踢？啊！哎呀，那个都在。
Well, I won't show it all. If you want to watch the whole video, please go to my Twitter account. Anyway, this is a clash between the police and the workers. The next video is very interesting, which shows the workers beating back the CCP police. Well, the next one is also from Hangzhou City, showing workers storming the management office of Hangzhou East Plastic Company as the company didn't pay salaries and were laid off workers. Well, similar things happened in many other factories and cities too. This shows that the unemployment is quickly becoming another crisis for the CCP. When will the situation reach a tipping point? No one knows. With both Hangzhou All-Test Biotech Company and ZY Bio Company in Chongqing City, the situation is basically the same. Both of those two companies produced a lot of COVID test kits, and the orders came from the government. After the CCP suddenly made a U-turn with its zero-COVID policy, and after the majority of people have already been infected, nobody really needs the test kits anymore. That's why these factories had to lay off workers. Let's watch how the test kits products were trampled underfoot by the workers. For me, this video is quite symbolic. It symbolized the complete failure of Xi Jinping's COVID policy. It is another rotten tail project and ends with completely failure. And the people have to deal with the consequences. Like the workers in the video, why were they so angry? They would not only be laid off, but also weren't paid for their work. After about a day of fighting and protests, the workers of both factories were paid several thousand yuan as compensation. This is to say, the workers won, and the CCP backed down again after it gave in to the public's pressure to celebrate the new year with fireworks, like we talked about in my last show. When the people no longer feel the CCP starts to tremble. As the Chinese economy deteriorates, more such protests are likely to occur across the country, creating more challenges and problems for the CCP. Now, our last topic today, HiJacked. You may have already read the news that Chinese billionaire Jack Ma has given up his control of Ant Group, which he founded. The news was announced on January 6. Ant Group said that after an ownership restructuring, no shareholder alone or with other parties will have control over Ant Group. So how has this happened? We know about 2 years ago, Ant Group was forced to call off its highly anticipated IPO that would have raised over $3 billion just days before it was to launch. After that, Ant Group had been under some kind of ownership restructuring. Before the restructuring, Jack Ma controlled the voting rights of 53.46% of Ant Group's shares through agreement with other shareholders. After the restructuring, state-owned capital or the government of Hangzhou City has a 10% shareholding in Ant Group and became the biggest shareholder. What does this mean? See this tweet from Miles Yu, the principal China policy and planning advisor to former U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. He said this is equal to Jack Ma's wealth being hijacked by the CCP. The CCP greeted Jack Ma with a hijack, and his assets were taken away. Not only were his assets taken away, but his safety has now also become a problem. As a matter of fact, Jack Ma has long since left China and has been living in Japan in a very low-profile way for the past 6 months. It was said that he doesn't plan to go back to China in the near future. I don't know how many people were surprised by this news. For me, it was not surprising at all that the CCP would do such a thing, as it did the same thing some 70 years ago. So the so-called public-private partnership, the CCP took away and robbed all business owners of their property. After Deng Xiaoping said let's allow some regions and some people to get rich in the 1980s, people like Jack Ma did become very rich. But under the banner of common prosperity, rich people can be robbed at any moment. And that's the reality and the real system of the CCP-ruled China. While some Wall Street companies are predicting that China's economy will do well this year after it relaxed its COVID control, people like Jack Ma, who has business talent, dare not to invade anymore or have already run away. Some other facts are private companies in China create 80% of China's urban employment, 60% of China's GDP, and 50% of China's tax revenue. So if this sector is suppressed, if even Jack Ma had to run away from China, how can you expect China's economy to bloom in 2023? Well, that's all for today. Thank you very much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't. If you are already subscribed, please like and share my content and double check that you are still subscribed. Also, if you could, please go to my website at jenniferzengblog.com. That's jenniferzengblog.com. Sign up for a membership or make a donation to support my truth-telling efforts. Thank you. See you next time.